What is going on, everyone? Skeletor SG here with some details on the new action platformer Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Never heard of the series? Unsure about the difficulty? Wanting to know how long your experience will be? Whatever reason you're here, this is Skeletor SG should you buy Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Coming out merely 2 days before Animal Crossing and Doom Eternal,
and on a Wednesday,
it was really easy to overlook this gem of a game, but I urge you to take a look back. Ori and the Will of the Wisp is the highly anticipated sequel to Moon Studios' Ori and the Blind Forest. This review contains brief spoilers of the first game, but nothing substantial, and spoils nothing from this title. Following the immediate events of the Blind Forest, the last egg of the Aokuro is born. Given the name Ku, Ori, Naru, and Gumo help raise the lone owlet as she is without a mother. While life in the grove is splendid and fair, Ku yearns for the sky, but her damaged wing prevents her from flying. Ori, using the final gift from Kuru, a feather from her wing, gives the feather to Gumo, who affixes it to Ku's broken wing. Thrust into the air with Ori on back, Ku takes flight in magnificent splendor. Briefly lived, though, the magical moment is brought asunder when a storm causes Ku and Ori to crash in the forest of Naiwen, becoming separated. While looking for Ku, Ori manages to meet Quolok, a giant toad who watches over the marsh. He informs Ori that Ku fell in the decaying land called the Silent Woods, and the only way to access her is by activating the wheel of the wellspring to clear the toxic water plaguing the forest. Clearing the way and traveling to the Silent Woods, Ori is reunited with Ku before encountering the main antagonist Shriek, a deformed and dejected owl. Reunited with Quolok, the toad explains the voice of the forest is weak and needs to be merged with its 5 parts to help Ku. Quolok gives Ori a Wisp, the voice of the forest that helps guide Ori's journey. Ori embarks from the marsh to collect the 4 fragments, the eyes, the memory, the strength, and the heart of the forest to return the light to the trees, to save Naiwen from darkness and subsequently save Ku, and reunite with Gumo and Naru. Ori and the Will of the Wisp is a story with serious depth, with very little dialogue. The characters are deep enough to feel connections to, and the hard moments feel like an emotional bomb. This game has a way to evoke sadness and hardship while always maintaining a light of hope in the darkest moments. The story is quite short, and quite frankly, you can just skip it and really still enjoy the game. Other than minor callbacks, the game is self-contained, and playing the first title isn't a requirement, but I highly recommend you do so. You will not be disappointed. Overall, the narrative is fairly simple, meant for an all-ages audience, but it has a way of conveying compassion and empathy in a way few games achieve. It is emotional and tragic, but beautiful and joyful in so many ways. The gameplay to Ori and the Will of the Wisps is one of those things that you just have to experience. Only advancing what its predecessor laid out, Will of the Wisp is one of the tightest and highly polished platformer Metroidvania games on the market. Like a mixture of Rayman meets Hollow Knight, Ori has an unbelievable array of offensive and defensive skills only as a cherry on top to the game's bread and butter, the traversal. I've never played a platformer that felt so smooth and so natural in the movement, and that's even coming from me playing on mouse and keyboard. Ori's initial skill set is limited, but the game has so many customization options that make Ori feel personal and satisfy many gamer archetypes as you go along. The jumping platforming is fast-paced and fluid, with your capability to remain in the air and on the move expanding as the game goes on. While there are vendors who sell moves and perks, your greatest gains will be from pushing yourself to traverse hard-to-reach areas. Many secrets are barred by plot progression simply because you need a new skill like burrowing in sand, but some just require expert precision and finesse to get a new skill, perk, energy, and health upgrades. Ori has an impressive set of physical attacks, this time expanding largely on its predecessor's slick combat. From bows to explosive light, auto sentries to giant hammers, you have an answer for every scenario. Combat can be tough, but figuring out how to use the environment and the enemy's own attack against them is intuitive and fun to figure out, while boss battles can be grueling combinations of the previous few abilities. The capability to change abilities on the fly isn't super fluid, but most of the time you can determine what you'll need for a boss encounter based on the environment and the enemies around it. Passive buffs alter base skills like sticking to walls, doing extra damage, or making your single bow shot separate into multiple shots. You can also upgrade the amount of passive slots you have by completing combat shrines throughout the game. Speed trials are also available to help you get more spirit orbs, as well as tightening your platforming skills, subsequently helping you achieve in-game side quests or just raw upgrading to Ori's arsenal. The choice is yours. But the collectibles are rich and hard to come across and offer an excellent challenge along with the incredibly tough boss/chase scenarios. Boss fights can be a nail-biting combo of chase and combat with oftentimes unforgiving checkpoints. I highly recommend a controller for this game as I felt some clunk on mouse and keyboard, but this game delivered on more engaging boss fights from the previous, so challenging engagements await in this title. But ultimately, the smooth traversal, engaging combat, miscellaneous side quests, and pulse-pounding boss fights kept me satisfied for a good 16 hours, achieving a 99% overall completion. My biggest complaint about the game was the audio artifacts, buzzes, and glitches, a known issue on the PC version, but the gameplay speaks for itself. It's a paradise for perfectionists and a joy for those seeking a thrilling experience with some of the best control options in gaming. Whew. And I just mean whew. I mentioned that there were known audio issues in this game, and that it in itself is a bit of a tragedy because there are few games with as good of a score and sound design as Ori and the Will of the Wisps. From the moving opening track to the somber and relaxing beats of a vibrant marsh to the epic ballads of boss fights, the music in Ori sets the mood at every single turn. There's not a single moment where the audio feels out of place or out of sync. On top of luscious audio fixings, the sound design is magnificent. Ori's movement on every surface, every enemy bounce, damage taken, landing in water, you name it, masterfully executed. This is a game to play with the best headphones or sound setup you have. You will not be disappointed with the beauty and the gift to your ears. And with the game audio at the highest tier, you can only expect graphics of equal caliber. You would not be making a false assumption.
Look at it. Look at it. Are you looking at it?
Ori and the Will of the Wisp is hands down the most beautiful game I've ever played. From stunning volumetric lighting to individual light rigs, explosive and radiant particles, maps of extreme depth, backgrounds of extraordinary detail, do you need me to continue? I don't know that I've ever played a game with such stunning level design ever. Some of the levels are so unbelievable you'll be shocked to see what you're walking on. There is this one environment where the entire thing is made of decaying insects cobbled together by constricting webs. The entire scene is grim and tragic, but spurred so many oohs and ahs in its own unique, beautiful way. The color palette of each level and region is immaculate, all with clear choice and thought behind each. I mean, even the map is gorgeous. Kind of a nightmare to navigate sometimes, but gorgeous. I took over 100 screenshots in this game because I just want to relive some of those beautiful moments with all their warmth and brilliance, but reflect on the darker, more brooding and cold elements, both with their own unique splendor that had me clawing for more. Graphics are what sold me to the first game, and my god am I so happy I've taken the time for both of these journeys. Again, it's rare when I say right off the bat this is a game you should check out, but with so many options to play, this is a no-brainer. From a deeply compelling and emotional story to engaging combat, superb and nearly perfect traversal, rich upgrades and collectibles, loaded with side quests, Ori is going to give you the value of your money, and the audio-visual presentation is just going to seal the deal. If you're an Xbox Game Pass subscriber, stop listening right now and go download it. This is a must and easily on my radar for Game of the Year, not Indie of the Year, not Best Xbox of the Year,
of the whole damn thing.
If you're on Steam or don't have Game Pass, I wouldn't hesitate to spend $30 on this game. I don't give ratings, but if I did, this is a 10 out of 10 would recommend to every gamer I know. There's something for everyone, and I'd be shocked if you walked away feeling dissatisfied.